Hello again, I am your magnificent and humble host, Blunty, for another episode of PonderPop. Now, there has been a spate of flood, a veritable spewing forth of PR releases and postings on technology and gaming websites about how the iPhone is going to be the next big thing in portable handheld gaming. I'm not sure I believe that yet, so I'm putting it to the test. The next handful of videos are going to be a spaz attack full of game reviews, a iPhone gaming review blitz, if you will. And first up on the chopping block is Gameloft and their game Guitar Rock Tour, which, as you may imagine from the name, is a Guitar Hero knockoff. Let's get to it. Now, before we get started with the review proper, I had a problem when I first installed this game. It would immediately and catastrophically crash as soon as I tried to start playing a song, even before the first note scrolled gracefully down the screen. And as I just paid 10 Aussie dollars to buy this app in order to review it, you may understand I was a little bit bubbling with frustration and annoyance and a little bit of rage. I immediately sent off an email to the publishers of the game, and to much surprise, I can happily report that it took just 10 minutes to receive a reply and a solution. Turns out, for some reason, you have to completely shut down your iPhone and do a cold reboot after installing the game, otherwise it just don't work. And once I did that, things went much smoother. The game chugs a bit when it loads, and in between each level when it's loading a song it's a bit sluggish as well. And as you'll be seeing in this review, the visual style we've chosen to present the game in is pretty familiar to anyone who's played Guitar Hero. In fact, the entire presentation of almost every aspect of the game borrows or steals heavily from Guitar Hero. Clicking past the splash screen brings you right to a quick play mode where, again just like Guitar Hero, it lets you have a quick bash at a selected song in one of 3 difficulty settings and either play guitar or drums. I'm going to be focusing mainly on the guitar because quite frankly the implementation of the drums isn't nearly as much fun as the guitar mode. Just like Guitar Hero, you can also play a tour mode, which sees you travelling around playing sets of songs which you must successfully complete in order to move on to the next gig. The carrot at the end of the stick for playing this mode is to unlock all of the 17 included tracks for play in quick play mode. One of the things that sets Guitar Rock Tour apart from other Guitar Hero-like rhythm games for the iPhone, like Tap Tap Revenge for example, which I've previously reviewed, is the fact that all the tracks included are recordings you'd actually recognise. Don't get me wrong, Tap Tap Revenge has some great music in it, but in Guitar Rock Tour, it's all stuff you've actually heard of, from artists that have actual recording deals. The game plays much like you'd expect from a Guitar Hero clone. You bash little notes as they scroll down the screen as they hit the bar at the bottom. It's almost redundant to explain that these days, as we're all pretty familiar with the gameplay mechanic, whether you've played Guitar Hero or not. There are some nice touches like being able to slide across notes that come in quick succession instead of having to lift your finger up and slam it down again immediately. You can even play a chord, that is 2 notes at once, by swiping quickly across both notes and holding down on the final one. These 2 techniques come in very handy when playing on the hard difficulty mode, as the notes come in thick and fast. Actually playing the game is often an exercise in frustration. The sensitivity is annoyingly high at times, given that the best way to play is with 2 thumbs. The fact that even if you slightly brush the screen with a thumb that isn't playing the note required leads to an annoying twang sound, and a missed note is maddeningly irritating, and has cost me a perfect score on countless occasions. On the other side of the coin, it will often refuse to register a note played. I've literally lost count of the amount of times I've sullied my iPhone's little digital ears by shouting naughty words at it when a note I swear upon my very life that I hit accurately, played correctly, and avoided accidentally touching the screen with my thumb not in use, and have the game utterly fail to register that note. One more thing borrowed from Guitar Hero is star power. Who cares what they call it here? It's star power. You know it, I know it, it's star power. You earn it by successfully playing a glowing sequence of notes, and when activated it gives you a temporary time-limited doubling of your score multiplier. Sounds familiar, right? The problem is, to activate it you have to reach halfway up the screen and swipe, not tap, but physically swipe on a little toggle switch. Which, while not impossible to do amongst the flurry of notes scrolling down, it certainly is improbable and awkward and an utter pain in the ass. Why didn't they steal one more thing from Guitar Hero and just use the iPhone's inbuilt accelerometer and have you give the iPhone a little jerk upwards to activate it? It's stupid and annoying. Within this power-up system is a thing they call Pyro Mode, which once available will burn up the screen and obliterate the next sequence of notes. It's designed to save you from playing an especially difficult section by simply removing those notes from play. In reality, all it does is break your rhythm and throw off your groove. None of these problems really break the enjoyment factor of the game once you learn to work around them. There is one more issue which really does damage gameplay in a real way though, and that is in their quest to emulate Guitar Hero with a little 3D rendered band on stage dancing around and all the graphical bells and whistles that don't actually make the game any better. I found the game will quite often drop in frame rate, stutter, and quite frankly spaz out, and sometimes this will even lead to the music or notes becoming slightly out of sync or pausing during gameplay, which really plays havoc with your rhythm. I've noticed this issue is even more exaggerated when your iPhone goes to fetch your email or something in the background. It earns big points for actually having a recognisable set list of popular music, but with only 17 tracks it's a bit limited. When it comes to tour mode, there's just too many gig stages to play through, and you'll find yourself replaying the same song you played a couple of gigs back, which, well, I suppose more closely resembles the real-life touring rock band experience, is not something I want to do in-game. I want each gig to offer me a new set of tracks to play, a new challenge. When I completed my first playthrough of Tour Mode, there were a couple of the 17 tracks I must have played like 3 or 4 times each, and it got kind of monotonous. The game has some pretty annoying quirks and some very irritating flaws, most of which I expect could be solved in updates, but it is still pretty playable and even quite enjoyable. But if you plan on playing Tour Mode, you're going to need your power adapter or one of the iPhone battery extenders, because I was struggling to get through an entire Tour Mode on a single battery charge. This game is one you're better off playing at home, and not while waiting in an airport or something. Not at least if you want your iPhone to have enough battery charge left to be useful. Alright, so all said and done, is it worth the price of admission? I'm going to have to go with maybe, or even probably. It does come with 17 licensed music tracks, they are fun to play, it does serve up a decent level of challenge, but if you are easily annoyed, you may want to give it a skip, lest you work up a frustrated rage so powerful you loft your iPhone in one hand and fling it at the nearest window, open or closed, it doesn't really matter, because the little flaws in the game do get kind of annoying at times. I think the gameplay outweighs those little flaws, and, you know, maybe they'll get fixed in future updates, maybe they won't, whatever. Join us next time for more of this iPhone gaming review blitz spaz attack. Catch you next time.